first scouting session after the season. It's a spot kind of close to my house. I'm trying to not drive so far next year. Figure hunt these big wood sections by my house, closer to my house. You know, a 20-minute ride is better than a 50-minute ride. Dad life, family life, you know. But this piece is on the map. Looks amazing. It looks like it's got mature hardwoods with a little bit of holly thickets here and there. There's an overgrown field about 150 yards this way, all full of ladder stands. So I came back in here and, you know, it's just crazy. Way too open. And over here, it's starting to get a little thicker because I'm not seeing nothing out here. I mean, there's just mature woods. So, yeah, let's see what we got going on over here. Because if I can't find some rubs, some scrapes, then, yeah, got to go. What they say is bucks don't like to leave the thicket. I'm just on the edge of that little thicket and I can already see a rub. It never fails. You know, all kinds of deer tracks, poop. All right, all right, all right. See that rub up in there? Not necessarily big, but it's still a rub. You know, nothing crazy, but it is a buck, and he's not even an old buck, and he's not even going out in there, so I guess I'm going into there. So, in this thicket a little bit, looking at the map, and it's relatively flat here. You know, we might get 10 foot of elevation change. And there's actually, this thicket kind of comes down and makes a point off in this direction. That rub is, 15 yards this way. So I'm assuming all this thicket, open mature hardwoods with foods, thicket, it's just going to be funneling deer activity. And that overgrown field is off in that direction, so these deer are probably falling back up and through. Northwest wind is blowing that way to that field, so in the morning almost impossible to hunt this because of the way the property line is. So in the evening, coming this way possibly down into this thicket and get up close and personal. Just quick thoughts on a map and years of doing this, I guess. I would be wrong, but might be right. Just a few more yards and now that's a pretty tall rub. Nothing crazy, but definitely a bigger deer. And he was just probably heading in the direction like I just talked about, leaving that field and coming up through this. Pretty much the only thick part in this mature hardwoods. I mean, it only rubbed once, but there's a couple older rubs I seen up that way like years ago. And there's another rub actually right here. See that one there. So these bucks are definitely coming through here. Now I'm excited. I didn't think this spot was really going to do much. Well, it just gets better and better. Bam. There's actually, from that last rub, this pretty much is a rub line. Cutting, paralleling that point I was talking about earlier. This is cross-sectioning it, this buck is probably searching for does. Coming up out of private here, that big overgrown field, and he's cutting across this thicket looking for does. I'd pretty much bet money on it. Not really a betting man. I'd probably lose that bet, so let's not take that bet, shall we? Oh, yeah, there's another rub over there. This area, genetics are heavy and kind of tight. They'll get a little tall, but you don't see many super wide bucks coming out of here, genetically speaking. Don't know why, but either way, that's a rub that was hit all these a few times. I'm found some really good sign. There's people up here were just pounding it. It was 2 different boots and 2 dogs, probably shed hunters maybe, I don't know. So I kind of went back in through all of this stuff. There's a bunch of, you know, waist high little whips and briars that deer were nipping off. And right, that little open spot up there, that's private, and it looks like they just logged it. Different sections last year and this year, possibly. Maybe not this year, I don't know. So there's definitely gonna be a nice browse line. This little open spot here, it's real kind of open. There's a couple little rows of thick spots. There's one right up here, and I guarantee there's gonna be a deer trail cutting that deer creatures of the edge anywhere you hunt them, which is awesome. Reeds, salt marsh, big wood, you find edges, and you'll find deer. So, pretty good walk. You know, I'm excited about it. I've already been out here about an hour. It's close to my house, like I said. Make the wife happy, make my gas bill happy, and it's kind of open. I can definitely bring the kids here. We can goof off in the next couple weeks, next month or so. Make this kind of a family affair. God. I definitely love this. Scouting, probably almost, I do love it more than hunting, I think. The whole new area, new everything, you know, gets me excited. I think I'm gonna spend some good amount of time here. Oh, another rub right here. It's funny, you get in these open pockets, there's rubs everywhere. They're all over the place, but they're not big. As soon as you start getting into all this stuff, then bigger rubs start popping up. It don't matter, like I said, doesn't matter where I hunt. Salt marsh, mountains, you find thickets, you will find the deer. That is for sure. Caught this, I don't even know what you call it. The sun's killing me. It's a bunch of little whips and saplings. It's open, they logged out up there. It's kind of big, what's there, and coming up through this stuff, I see, you know, this. And a little other rub there. This definitely, that deer hit it once. I got to looking, be a perfect spot for a deer to bed. And I don't know if you can kind of see it right here. A small little bed. I was looking through it, you know, right here. A little bit of hair, not recent, but it's, you know, a perfect spot for a buck to bed. It's bedded here. You can kind of see that little rub right there. Bedded here. Northwest is blowing off his back, rolling over his back. blowing out that way. Most likely coming here in the morning, sitting here all day, afternoon, gets up, and he heads that way, nose into the wind. He knows what's behind him. Maybe going to check some of the oaks or that browse from that clear cut that they did. Who knows? But it's pretty cool. I love this stuff. I haven't mentioned that before. Come up around that piece of private. It's an old abandoned cart road, property line, private, public. I'm gonna walk this. Easy walking, but should be some scrapes, I would think, along here. Always find these cart roads littered with scrapes in certain sections. And flat, it's like a bench in the mountains. It's like a magnet for travel. Probably because it's easy walking. Well, I spoke too soon. This is not easy walking. I walked that cart road for like a quarter mile and nothing. Nothing, I mean, nothing at all. Fat. Dad life, you know? Eating good. But, yeah, so that's going to be it for today. It was fun. Big woods. Flat, swamp, oaks. Found some really good sign. I mean, like really good buck sign. And go home, decipher it all out, see where I can get to. Actually, I'm coming back anyway. These spots were just too good not to come back. Well, hopefully everybody enjoys. What I find a bit odd about this walk, I found way more rubs than scrapes. It's a small little scrape line. Found no really big scrapes, you know, thumb-sized licking branches, like very little satellite type scrapes, but found massive rubs. I would really would have thought I found does. I mean, found them they were feeding. Found more some does were bedded, but a little disappointed on the scrapes. I'm sure they're in there. I just, you know, for an hour walk, I guess, as good as it's gonna get. Yeah, so that's all I want to say. Speaking of scrapes, found a little guy right here. This is basically, you know, what I found. Nothing like I said, massive, you know, perennial type scrapes. It's like these bucks are just running through here, no rhyme or reason. And those rubs are either a rut cruising line where he's cutting tracks, or that's where these bucks are hanging out in this private, coming up through. Sometimes I get just too much. I start overthinking everything. So I'm gonna just stop. I'm just gonna go home. Kind of tired.